Now we got the great one himself, the best ever. He was the best. He still is the best. He'll always be the best, whether it's Thursday mornings right now with me or Monday afternoons with Katz and Cosby. He's got his own amazing website, BillO'Reilly.com. That's where our morning message originates from, about 7:30 every day. Great interviews, great stories, just great television, an amazing author, all those Killing series books, and the presidential book, Confronting Evil, which is still doing well. Has those big ratings on News Nation with Stephen A. Smith, who will join us tomorrow. I spoke to Steve last night. We had a great conversation. And Chris Cuomo, here he is, my friend, and the best ever, Bill O'Reilly. Good morning, Bill. How are you?
Yeah, I'm in D.C., a little foggy. We did a big, long-form podcast with Jeanine Pirro last night.
Oh, nice. I just saw her on Fox News moments ago. She looks great. Obviously got a lot of Facebook. She looks like $1 million. You know, it's funny. She was on this station. She did a show every Sunday. I was a guest of hers, Bill. I'm not exaggerating, probably monthly. She was on this radio program, mine, every Tuesday. We had this great relationship. And now she barely gets back to me on text. I understand she's very busy. And I would ask you, what is she up to these days? Is there a big case? Is there something major that she's working on as a U.S. attorney in D.C.?
Well, that's why I came down here, because we hadn't heard from her in an official capacity for quite some time. And I was confused. I was okay, now what exactly is Judge Jeanine doing?
Right.
I didn't know. I mean, you got she's the U.S. attorney in Washington, D.C. You got the attorney general. You got all these attorneys running around, and pretty soon Adalia will be down here, and then everyone will leave. But we do this thing called, we'll do it live, where I used some bad words when I was 12 years old, and they dug it out.
Nice.
To embarrass and humiliate me, which is really impossible at this point in my career. Right. Anyway, she works about 12 to 15 hours a day, which is why she probably hasn't gotten back to you. And her job is to regulate and prosecute all crimes attached to the District of Columbia. Now, that includes crimes abroad. It includes terrorism, human trafficking, not just, people stealing cars. And so it's a mammoth job.
Well, let me ask you this, because I'm glad you're telling me all this, because I do miss her. We were very close, very.
Yeah, it's not personal.
No.
It's,
I'm sure. She's busy.
That kind of thing.
Right. So, but what is the difference, or maybe there is no difference? Maybe they just need as many hands on deck as possible. What is the difference or similarities between what she does and, for example, what Pam Bondi used to do and now Todd Blanche is doing?
A good question. Cross state lines. So if you're the Attorney General, okay, your major operating force is the FBI. You commit a crime in America, then you cross state lines with the crime. Then they go after you.
Got it.
Pirro is District of Columbia. But there are so many things happening in and out of here. And remember, this is federal territory here. Okay? They don't have anything to do with the states. So it's a delineation of fiefdoms. And, Washington, I mean, I don't like Washington. I'm sorry. It's everybody trying to stab each other in the front to get ahead. And,
Yeah.
At least in New York, it was just, oh, Rodney, what are you doing? Okay? I mean, I like that. That's fine with me.
Right.
But I don't want the velvet shiv, and that's what it is down here.
Yeah.
And, they like you on Tuesday, and then they don't like you on Thursday, and I don't care.
No, you're right about that. You're right.
And then I'm going to the Correspondent's dinner on Saturday as a bouncer.
As a bouncer?
Yeah.
I want to get to...
This is great. I thought this up. I said, you know what? I'm tired of people disrespecting the office of the president.
I got it.
Okay,
Yes.
and Trump is sharp. He can handle himself. Okay, but then I see my pals Dan Rather and Sam Donaldson, both are 115 years old, put out a letter that says that if you are a journalist going to this correspondence dinner on Saturday, you are to forcibly protest the President of the United States.
Rather,
Trump is going for the first time.
Please.
In his 5 years. So
That's right.
Showing up.
He never goes to this. Never. But I heard that because of the chicanery that goes on, and the other two old news guys you just mentioned are adding to that. I heard this will also be the first time there'll be no comedians there on Saturday.
No, there's going to be a mentalist. Somebody, I guess he's going to lift up a spoon. I don't know what he's going to do. I don't really care what he does. Hey, O'Reilly, your mother's name was Gertrude. Okay, thanks. How much is that? How much do I have to pay for that? So there'll be a mentalist there. But after the letter came out, I guess 200 journalists signed it. And I'm going, forcibly? What is that? What does that mean? Now, there are going to be U.S. Marshals and Secret Service in the room.
Yeah.
But I appointed myself the main bouncer. And I'll tell you, if there's somebody near my table who's yelling, I'm going to get up and go over.
Good for you. Good for you. They're actually, are they, well, maybe not exactly, but almost encouraging violence? Almost.
Nah, these, again, I mean, the statute of limitations on these guys, once you say, look, I covered the Civil War, we'll give you a little break, okay? All right, here's some oatmeal, and I know them both, and they've always been liberal lions, always. And they didn't hide it from their viewers, and, I have a new book coming out in September called Confronting America, What Has to Change.
Oh, wow.
And that'll be out in the middle of September. And I tell a story about Dan Rather, because I work for him, which you're going to go, whoa.
I'm not sure I will, because Dan Rather is so out there that I probably will believe it quickly.
Well, anything I write is true.
Well, I know that. But I'm saying, of those three guys, when I was a little kid, of course, I was little. But right. I remember Tom Brokaw on NBC. I remember Peter Jennings on ABC.
Yeah.
And I remember Dan. And then when I got a little older and a little more aware of what was going on, the guy that I really didn't like him, was Dan. I was okay with Tom, even though he MSNBC, NBC, and I was kind of, Peter Jennings to me was like the Roger Moore, the Bond of television.
Right.
But I couldn't stand Dan Rather. I don't know, Bill. I just couldn't stand him.
Well, I had to work for him, and he did something untoward, and I'm writing about it, and he's not going to like it, and I don't care.
Wow.
And there's a point to the story about how the evolution of the left-wing media started with Nixon, and pretty much where it started. Maybe you could make a case it went back to Vietnam, but I don't want to bore everybody with this. But the story about me and Rather is really good.
Oh, I can't wait to read that. I do want to.
And then I got stories about everybody.
No, I can't wait.
Talk about guys who have been around.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just was offended by this letter. That we're going to forcibly protest in this room. And I'm going, okay, take it outside, Jack. So, I got my tuxedo. I'm still standing 6'4". I'm mobile. So if you get out of line,
Look out.
You may have a new friend.
Here we go. Look out. Here comes Big Bad Bill O'Reilly. You're going to get all physical on. You're going to kick your ass. But, sticking with the media, my friend Russell Sullivan, he used to work with the Secret Service. He's in Virginia somewhere. He's got a great brother combination, Michael and Thomas. They're all great Breezy Point guys. He says, talking to Bill, speaking of the U.S. attorney, from a media standpoint, what does Bill think of the mainstream media's dismissive attitude toward the Southern Poverty Law Center indictment charging that the SPLC is funding the very thing they decry and condemn. He thinks this is a major story. And, of course, what he's talking about is funding these extreme left groups. Any thoughts on this?
Well, I did it last night. I reported it. And, of course, we have due process. So, the Southern Poverty Law Center says they did not do it. But from what I understand, there are informers that the Attorney General has who are going to come in and swear that they received money to try to foster violence on the right. So how it worked was, this is all allegation now, that the Southern Poverty Law Center would give you a stipend if you were a Nazi, and then tell you to cause trouble at this rally and that rally.
Wow.
So that they could go in and condemn it. They hyped it up using bribes. Now, that's pretty serious, obviously, but it has to be proved. And these informers who allegedly got the money, and the money is $3 million. So we're talking about a serious bribe here. It is a good story. It's an absolutely good story. But again, you've got to apply due process to these things. They are entitled to a defense.
Sure. Bill O'Reilly, live in D.C. He'll be at the White House Correspondents' Dinner on Saturday. And he interviewed Jeanine Pirro today, who I saw on Fox News this morning. She was actually talking about, the president is always boasting, and he's right, how this administration has made a lot of cities safe again. Maybe the most of all, Washington, D.C. Even their mayor, who hates Trump, Muriel Bowser, had no choice but to admit, the city is actually much safer. But Pirro was talking about how they're going to keep the curfew for the teenagers at night. Then they showed a video of a bunch of kids wilding all over D.C. So I guess they're going to keep that curfew. I wonder, is there any talk about Blanche moving on? Don't forget, he was installed as the interim AG when Trump got rid of Bondi, and you started hearing Lee Zeldin, then kind of whispers, maybe Harmeet Dillon, maybe Jeanine Pirro. Any more talks about what might happen there? It looks like Todd Blanche is going to get the job full time, no?
If I had a bet, I would.
Yeah.
That would be DraftKings or whatever they do. I don't know what they do. You're stupid. You can't win. But you send the money to Sid rather than DraftKings. So, he's a tough guy, Lance. That's what they wanted. Record crime drop in D.C., and, I did scold Pirro. I said, look, you're doing a good job driving this crime down. Much safer city than it was. All the stats say that. You get along with Bowser. She does. Pirro gets along with Bowser.
Good.
I said, but there's one guy, you got to contain him. And she goes, who's that? And I go, Greg Gutfeld. He should be in chains. Why is he walking around? He should be in solitary confinement. I'll give you 8 felonies that Gutfeld committed in my presence. Okay, so as soon as he steps into the district, you got to...
funny, you made that guy such a superstar. Because I remember...
with Bernard.
Bernard, every Tuesday night, it was Gutfeld and Bernard. And then when Fox News did what they did to you, which was gross... And they kept the name of the factor, even though you were gone, or not gone yet officially, but you were gone. They kept the name of the factor for 2 weeks. And the last factor was hosted, because I was a guest on it. The very last factor, me and Bernard were guests, and it was hosted by Greg Gutfeld. Did you know that?
I didn't know it, but now that's another felony. So that adds to
that's the biggest
18,
one.
Right?
That's the biggest one. So I know you heard Lara Trump on moments ago, and I got real honest with her on a couple of things, but Iran, I said we are quickly approaching than Nancy Guthrie, not to make fun of that sweet woman who is probably...
I know what you're saying. It's oversaturation.
Right?
Yeah.
So what happens next? What does the president do? How does he make it work for him politically? Where are we with that?
Well, look, I said from the very beginning that this was a massive gamble on the part of President Trump because there were so many things that could get out of control in the world, and that's what the mullahs are doing now. Iran is waging economic war. It's trying to create as much economic chaos as it can, hopefully then wearing down all the people that want the weapons inspectors in there and want them out of there. So that's their strategy, and it is working to some extent. You got China now, for the first time, speaking up. That's important. Because the Iranians can't live without the Chinese. And my instinct says that Trump is going to win it. But in the meantime, it's going to be very painful for the world.
Yeah.
And if the world were sane, everybody would want the Iranian government out of there. Everybody. And that has been a huge disappointment. I don't think that was anticipated by the Trump administration, that NATO and all of these other countries would sit it out.
Yep. I don't think so either.
And they have. Yep. And that's what you get into this stuff. And there's always these unintended consequences that appear, always. They call it the fog of war. And that's why it was such a big gamble, because you couldn't control the playing field. If somebody had said 2.5 months ago, Iran would still be, viable, everybody go, oh, no. But when you have sympathy for them by a lot of the world, which was unanticipated, that's another very difficult hurdle to overcome.
It is. It reminds me of Hamas. Now, we knew that Israel would be the bad guy. We knew that. It just happened so quickly. But same thing, the bad guy becomes the sympathetic figure, and the good guys, they become the villains. Bibi in Israel, they're the villain. Trump in the United States, we're the villain. That's why I love Trump and Bibi.
It's so crazy that these people hate Trump more than they hate the mullahs.
That's right.
That's what it comes down to.
Well, they hate Bibi more than they hate Hamas, too, and the Palestinians.
But the problem here with Israel is it is not a main player. All right, what it is that carries out military missions very effectively, but it is not making decisions on the battlefield. So when I saw this guy, and this is outrageous, Christopher Murphy, the senator from Connecticut,
douchebag,
absolutely rooting for
Iran,
the Iranians to defeat the U.S. Navy.
Yeah, oh yeah, sure, yeah, Tucker Carlson.
I'm sitting, and this is the biggest Trump hater in the country, Murphy. I'm going, you people in Connecticut, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
I mean, this is so unacceptable, but it's there.
No, it's there. You're right. Finally, after this amazing conversation, I wish I was actually sitting at your table on Saturday night. I really do. You're going to be so much fun.
That'll be a riot.
I know. You're going to be so much fun. You're great at all these events. You're great at those, and you'll be there in Trump. But on the way out, I'm still waiting. All my friends, Bill O'Reilly, I get a call every day. Bo Dietl yesterday, Jeff Lax, he's a buddy of mine. He's a professor at Kingsborough Community College in Brooklyn 2 days ago. All these people are having conversations with Steve Cohen and all the Cohen's guys. And I got nothing from Cohen yet. So. And the Mets won last night, so I know the curse is over, but still waiting to hear from Steve Cohen. You know anything?
Yeah. I mean, look, there's turbulence in the organization, and they did not expect there to be turbulence. This is almost like the war thing. Even last night when they won the game, it was a struggle.
Struggle. Yeah.
I mean, you were sitting there going, and this is the Minnesota Twins.
Right. And I thought they would lose again. It was 2-2, and they get the win, mind you, but the guy that's been red hot, who I don't like the last couple of days, Lindor, he's not got the same injury as Juan Soto.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of turbulence within the organization that they didn't anticipate when they took the field. They were confident. And, look, if you go to any baseball game in America and you take your two kids, you're looking at $1,000 if you're sitting in a good seat.
Yes, I know.
Okay, you're looking at a lot of money. I was $50 to park. I mean, it's insane. And then you're sitting there and you're watching Devin Williams come in and he's bouncing the ball off some spectator in right field. No, Devin, you're supposed to throw it over the plate. Okay? I mean, I'm sitting there going, what is this?
I know.
So I love the Mets. I was at the Polo Grounds when I started. I've got the legacy there. I want them to win.
Sure.
All right. I don't have any animus at all.
Right.
But when I do see Cohen, and I should be shortly, I'm going to tell him, look, if you have a communist as a mascot, this is not good. Okay, Mr. Met is a communist. All right? So I don't know why they have a communist as a mascot. What's next? Fidel going to run out there?
Oh, God.
Are we going to have a little Fidel with a little beard and hat? And he's going to be with Mrs. Fidel? I don't even know if there was a Mrs. Fidel.
Oh, that's funny. Mr. Met is a communist. Well, we're going to see him. We're going to see him together because you've invited me on the 15th. Now,
and we're heckling Mr. Met.
Oh, we are. Yes. And
we're going to bring up Lenin, and we're going to bring up a whole Havana,
Stalin, all of them.
Yeah, we're going to bring up the blockade JFK had there. Mr. Met is going to be so delirious when we get through with him. Okay.
That's going to be fun.
Have you ever heard of any American sports team having a communist as a mascot? I thought the Philly Fanatic might have been.
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think he is. And I hate the Phillies. I think we got the only one. But I look forward to that conversation that night with Steve Cohen. Don't be offended, Bill, when I meet you outside of one of the other Tom Seaver or whatever it is, one of those suites, and I'm wearing a Greg Nettles jersey. Don't be offended, okay?
I'm not going to be offended, but you're going to get the pulp beat out of you.
No, I'm not. You know why? No, because I got the best bodyguard in Queens, the same guy who's going to be bouncing at the White House Correspondents' Dinner on Saturday night. That's you.
And Spencer will be there, too.
Oh, we're good. We're good.
You got two big guys.
We got the two big O'Reillys. Bring it on. It'll be fun. Have fun out there this weekend. You were amazing as always today. I love you, Bill O'Reilly. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Sid.
God bless you. Bill O'Reilly right there. He's got a big couple of days coming up. The White House Correspondents' Dinner, and he's right. Trump has now been through 5 of those. He's never gone. In fact, when Trump won, Bernie and I had him on. First time I ever had Trump on the radio with Bernie. Bernie made that one happen. Early 2017, I guess. And one of the first questions Bernard asked him, in fact, we'll get that for tomorrow, Justin, was, are you going to the White House Correspondents' Dinner? Or why aren't you going? I forget how it was phrased. Because he was not going. Seth Meyers may have been the host. I don't remember. But at any rate, he said no. And he didn't go to anyone's after, but he is going to his first this Saturday night.
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?